Before this video starts, I want to give a massive shout out to my patrons. You guys are epic. Also, we hit 30,000 subscribers, so leave your Q&A comments in the comment section on this or on the community post that I put on the channel. When researching the latest product to buy, be that a smartphone or a computer, the first thing to pop up is usually a list of specifications, nauseating numbers, technical talk, and marketing material. But the problem with these statistics is often at times they barely translate to the user experience, and the difference lies not in the stuff you see on paper, but the underlying and seldom talked about software and storage controller information. And no, I'm not talking about software version numbers. I've never really been one for specs, and I'm more into the user experience. So hey guys, my name is Ryan Thompson with Failtech, and this is why specs don't matter. The biggest argument is that these high specs can run better games, but most people who play games on their phones play games such as Candy Crush or Golf Battle or Words with Friends, games that could be run on phones that are 3-4 years old. But the problem is those people aren't watching reviews, so most of the people I'm talking to right now probably play higher end games than that. The average person doesn't watch phone reviews, but I bet the average viewer of mine does play a lot of video games on their smartphone. Sure, PUBG Mobile, Fortnite, Real Racing and that kind of game are going to require more horsepower to push those pixels, and if you have a high resolution display, you're going to need more still. However, there are heaps of reasons why displays above Full HD shouldn't be put into smartphones, and that's a whole other area that people get confused with. For example, a good 1080p IPS display will be a bad QHD OLED display, but it's not just in the technologies. A good IPS display beats a bad IPS display, but it's very difficult to have that written down on paper. You don't see in the spec sheet whether an OLED is good. I suppose a good example of this would be the OLED found in the Pixel 2 XL versus the OLED found in the OnePlus 6. You might immediately assume that the Pixel 2 XL has the better display because it's a higher resolution, but in practice, the AMOLED found in the OnePlus 6 is heaps better. And it's the same thing with IPS. LG's G6 had a really good IPS display, but on, let's say, the Poco phone, the IPS display isn't anywhere near of that quality. Pixel response times, grey to grey response times, viewing angles and other metrics are very rarely put down on the paper of a spec sheet of a smartphone. They might be in, let's say, a computer monitor or a TV, but never really in smartphone specifications. And a similar situation persists between the displays of the iPhone XR and Poco phone F1. But on paper, the Poco phone destroys the XR. In the hardware specification department, I have two absolutely great examples for you today, both ironically from Xiaomi. The Mi A2 Lite and the Poco phone F1. Now I know by now you're thinking I'm an absolute idiot for comparing two extremely different phones in different parts of the market and with no real competition. But what about this? They don't share many specifications at all, and that's okay really because they don't need to. But if I had to say which one would give me the better experience, I'm going with the Mi A2 Lite, and it's just plain better value for money. For around half the price of the Poco phone, you're getting equal or better battery life, much better software, almost exactly the same display, an extra SIM slot since you have to use the second one in the Poco phone for a microSD, a better build, a smaller notch, and a similar performance in everyday apps. Now I know a lot of you are going to be spamming in the comments, "Roy, that's absolutely stupid, everything should have an 845, and we've gone through this before, but Mr. Spec Nerd, I'm getting a better experience." You probably wouldn't expect that from your 845 equipped device. And not to say that the Poco phone is a bad phone by any stretch of the imagination, because it's not. It's a great phone and it's a good value. And not to say that the Mi A2 Lite is an excellent phone, because I mean, it's really not. It's a good phone, it's a good value. The problem is, you look at these side by side on paper and they look completely different. But you hold them in your hands and you soon realise which one is going to give you the better experience, and that is the cheaper one. Now of course, if money was no object, maybe some people would elect to pick the Poco phone, but there are actually a few things on the Mi A2 Lite that the Poco phone just doesn't do anywhere near as well. Bragging that you've got 6GB of RAM in a phone is kind of like saying you live in a 6-bedroom house, but you're alone. There's not much point. Sure, it gives you room for expansion in the future, and surely it gives you more flexibility, but when are you really going to use that? The thing is, what really contributes to performance and user experience tends to be the software. Now I'm not saying everything that has Android One is amazing because it's clean and all that stuff, because we all know that Android One does have some limiting factors. The thing is, you look at a spec sheet and you see Android 8.1 or you see Android 9.0 and you think, well, 9.0 is going to be the better one. but it doesn't show you the implementation. That 9.0 ROM could have loads of bloatware, could be really buggy, could be crashy. That 8.1 ROM might be clean and fast and have little overhead. And that stuff isn't put on paper, so spec sheets won't show that whatsoever. You have to pick up the phone, you have to use it just to see the difference. It just bugs me when people buy phones solely on the spec. Unless you're doing a very, very specific kind of task, then I guess specs do matter. And of course the system on a chip does play into kind of what display you can have and what camera sensors you can have, but it really doesn't make that much of a difference if the software is that much better. Anyway guys, that's been it from me. I want to hear your thoughts on this in the video comments, that'd be awesome. If you like this video, please do like it. If you disliked it, then please leave a dislike and comment telling me why, as well as subscribing if you're new around here to never miss a video like this one. Thank you all so much for 30,000 subscribers, and I want to give a massive shout out to my patrons. You guys are awesome. Again, thank you so much. Also, check out links to my social media and other things below. My name is Ryan Thomas with Failtech, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.